If they don't want blacks or people who are apparently too dark in physical appearance, particularly when it involves intermarriage, stop trade with them. Huh? Investigate anything that has components made from them and don't buy it. Buy on alternative. Buy German, purely German, Scandinavian made, even though it'll cost you more. Adjust your economies accordingly. Don't physically harm people. You wouldn't want anybody doing a surprise attack upon you, a sucker punch, so to speak, as we call it here in America. Hmm. God bless America. Despite all its hypocrisy, God bless it. But it does not simply suffice to say God bless America, but we, the people, have to be its benefaction, its benediction, its active, proactive benediction. Actually, is in the populace, not just in the simple divine supplication. When we beseech our judiciaries as a sort of ingredient, as a sort of tool or component of the divine, even though they are not divine, the judiciary nor its members, but they are a component, a tool of the divine, which is what? Encompassing justice. So that being said, this is what I seek: the economic freedom for Afro-Ethnics, people who are non-mulatto, non-Creole, purely Bantu sort of a features, West African or East African Bantu features, non-Creole, people who don't look like Thurgood Marshall, Adam Clayton Powell, Benjamin Jealous, Roy Nagin, Karl Mack, Dr. Ralph Bunchy, people who don't have those type of appearances. You know, what they call ugly term is called high yellow. We don't have those appearances. So people who look like us, that's why I said Herman Cain could not get it. Because people of Anglo ancestry have a disgust for people who don't look like them. They gravitate to ethnic groups that look similar to them, that have trademarks, traces of them. They can relate to that more so than people who have no trace. Even Asiatics with their broad noses and lips and features, they find them to be exotic. When they have things on a national, global geopolitical level that they want from them, so they'll acquiesce to them. And like I said, they find them erotically exotic too. The Negro peoples, the Afro-Ethnic, they do, but the women folk. But even as a whole, a lot of men of Euro and other ethnicities, Pakistani and other people would not want to marry. They would try a Negro woman for foreplay, or like an Arab because of the proximity to Negro women, because of elongated or enlarging buttocks or breasts as compared with the Arab. They'll try them out, but to marry them and actually establish family structures with them, no. No. And the black Americans that Somalis would marry would be ones that are very attractive by Afro-American standards, meaning what? Less Bantu, more Ethiopian, more Hamitic in facial features, like the pornography actress. Her name is Cherokee. Very vulgar, but I know about it. Cherokee Diaz. Cherokee, like Cherokee Indian, is the first word. Middle initial D, the letter D in the last name is for the buttocks. Vulgarity. ASS. Her type of facial feature, the Somalis would marry. Those type of Afro-Americans, if they can get them. The other ones, they won't. Or they'll utilize them for papers, or to cement themselves in documentation, which is why I wanted to use the money granted to me by my friend, Mr. Mubarak, in Singapore, to build e-commerce companies and pay my own way with the visa status in Singapore, rather than going to redneck, traditionally well-known redneck, because our Aborigine brothers, suffering there, as Kevin Rudd officially apologized, at least he had the gonads, the cojones, the chutzpah, to the chutzpah to formally apologize to the Aboriginal community. So being Aboriginal, I'm not far from them. just as dark, just as broad nose, and kinky hair as they are. So I can't think myself better than the local Aboriginal because I'm coming from the U.S. It would be criminal and it would be disingenuous for me to do that. It would be outright evil for me to do that and to shun the Aboriginal community. So rather than going down there and possibly face that bigotry, which Australians as a whole has evolved. The Australians and Caucasian South Africans, border, which they call Afrikaner, border Englishmen, they have evolved a lot. Portuguese South Africans. There's also a Portuguese South African community. People forget about that. Portuguese. They have evolved a lot. They have evolved a lot since medieval, man. A lot. And I laud them. I commend them for it. They even treated me well. They didn't treat me bad. Some instances I would run into it in like Woolsproed or towns that were really remnant Dutch, Afrikaner, AW something or whatever, you know, a certain type of party or faction, which is hardcore border Afrikaner. Okay. But other than that, man, I give them credit. You know, but I would get on the occasion and then I would run into those old towns and the black women would laugh and they would mock me. And then they would go to the Afrikaner boss, mock and point, whatever, because they would see me as a black foreigner. And she would hog on to the coattails. And I'm talking not literally, but metaphorically, proverbially. She would hog on to the coattails of the Afrikaner master, the boss, because he's a source of income and food. This is like in the early 2000s when I went down. The first time I think was 1990s. I can't even. Excuse me. I can't even remember that stuff about it. But the people that helped me get out the first time with the ticket to LA via Singapore, the first time the people that helped me were colored Muslims that I didn't even know. These colored Muslims were going to Umrah or Hajj. And they heard I was stuck and they told me that they would arrange for me to leave. And they did. The second time was Maulana Bama, Gujarati. All these people I owe. Colored meaning mixed ancestry, mulatto. You know, all these people I owe. The longer I stay languishing here, the more my debt increases. Even Wani in Hanover Park, who I love dearly. At 10, 20,000 rand, I could pay that back like that if I were income allowed. See, so there are people within the federal law enforcement and intelligence apparatus who have now garnered more partners against me to increase a case against me who are murderers. They will actually murder me. They're so outrageous, so full of rage and hatred. Instead of challenging somebody to the death, a battle or a fight to the death, while you are still in public, not taking you somewhere, sequestering you somewhere, and spiriting you off extrajudicially to fight in the arena. While you are alive in public, where you can tell your family your farewells and goodbyes with honor and challenge their greatest, their satanic warrior to the death. They are not requited with any honor, but they are bereft. They are bereft of anything dignified. And this is what Mediva reminds us of, is that we can be more elevated than that without harming and attacking. And that's why the conservative Republican-esque people I hold scant regard for, because one of them was very classy, though. Eric Bolling, who was quipping with Juan Williams. That was the classiest, most dignified, conservative, well-read, erudite, wealthy conservative that I heard, the way he treated Madiba. He refused to denigrate Madiba because he said of an official, of a leader, of a well-regarded man that has passed on. I don't want to get into his socialist, communist past, but Juan Williams identified it right to the point and said that where else did he have to reach out to? In a time where people were trying to get up from under the foot of tyranny, particularly of Celtic or European tyranny in Africa. Where else did he have to go? Who would understand movements of liberation?